Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to discuss ways that you can protect yourself at home and when you're out from the Covid-19 or the coronavirus. I should start by saying that I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a naturopath, a homeopath. I'm just a person who's taken a very keen interest in healthcare and natural health treatments over the past several decades. And while other people were bored with the topic, I was quite fascinated by it. So I have garnered quite a bit of information on the topics of natural treatments and what you can do about various things to do with your health. So that being said, as the disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. Go see your doctor if you're seriously ill. And these are just my opinion, but it's an opinion based on a lot of years of interest in healthcare and natural treatments. So to start with, there's the obvious things that you've heard about in the news. If you're going out, you should sterilize your hands before and after. Before you go into a store, maybe even have a handy wipe with you, a disinfecting handy wipe, like a Lysol wipe that disinfects 99.99% of germs. And you could even sterilize the shopping cart. You can sterilize your hands. You might even want to sterilize that pin pad and your card that you're using in the pin pad. At any rate, you want to wear the mask if you can. Wear the glasses that completely cover your eyes because it's droplets in the air that people breathe out or cough out that are what could infect you. And I've actually seen people wearing their mask over their mouth, not over their nose. So you need to use intelligence and put the mask over your mouth and your nose. And of course, the best advice would be self-isolation if you can do that. Okay, so all that out of the way, here are some other things that you can do to protect yourself from the COVID-19. Number one, this is not actually in any particular order, it's just the first thing I'm going to mention, which is raw garlic. When you eat raw garlic, what happens? Well, garlic comes out in your breath, it's in your lungs, it's in your mouth, it's in your nostrils, and you have garlic breath. And there's something about garlic, it's an antiviral. So having that in your mouth, in your lungs, is going to discourage the settlement of COVID-19 because it heads for the lungs. So that's a really good thing to start with, is have one raw garlic every day. And if you don't have raw garlic, you can take capsules of garlic. This also applies to wild onions. I used to call them leeks as a kid, but apparently they're called wild onions. They're out in the forest, you can get them. Those are very strong and they do the same thing. And I would even think that raw onions, and raw leeks too, all of these things would be very good to eat some of that, something like that on a daily basis while we're facing this, because it is an antiviral and it does discourage the settlement of the COVID-19 into your throat, and then it gravitates down into your lungs. So good thing to have. Second thing I'm going to recommend is Vicks Vapor Rub. It has a strong smell, which has a similar effect on germs and viruses coming into your mouth, your nostrils, and your lungs. That vapor that it gives off discourages viruses from settling in your mouth, in your nose, in your throat, and in your lungs. And it doesn't have to be the brand Vapor Rub. It can be any similar one that you could even get at the dollar store, as long as it's got the main ingredients. But I think that the Vapor Rub is a really good one because it's made with paraffin instead of Vaseline, and it's got a lot of good ingredients that would help to discourage bacteria and viruses from settling in mucous membranes. Okay, and now you can put this in your nostrils at night. You can put it on your chest, and you can rub it on the bottoms of your feet. Apparently, if you put this on the bottom of your feet, it works its way through your system. There's something about the bottom of your feet, and it does somehow make it to your lungs. So any of those areas, your nose probably being the best, because that's the closest to your throat and your lungs. But still, you can put it elsewhere. It discourages viruses and bacteria just like the garlic. Number 3, buy a disinfecting toothpaste. I'm recommending a brand called Desert Essence, and the flavor it has neem and it has tea tree oil in it. And the company is Desert Essence. That is a really good toothpaste. Both neem and tea tree oil are disinfectants, strong disinfectants, antiviral, also antiviral ingredients. So very good to brush your teeth morning and evening, or anytime you like with this. But in particular, anytime that it could be a long period of time between eating, otherwise it just washes away. So that's why I would say night is really good, or morning after your breakfast. You're going to be a while before you eat again, hopefully, unless you're drinking coffee all day long like me. Another brand of toothpaste that I just recently discovered is called Jason Healthy Mouth. And the flavor, I believe, is cinnamon and tea tree oil. And I find it's quite good. And the tea tree oil and the cinnamon, clove oil is quite good too. Just some clove oil is 10,000 times more active at killing bacteria and being an antiviral than oregano oil. You hear a lot about oregano oil, not so much about clove oil, but 10,000 times more effective. You could put this on top of your toothpaste, a little drop, to add more disinfecting antiviral properties to your toothpaste. I'm sure there's other uses for clove oil that you could look up, but it's very powerful against viral things and bacteria, but in particular, something like the COVID-19. I guess that was number 4, clove oil. So number 5 is going to be gargling with baking soda and salt. They probably could both be their own category, but put them together. If you put them together, they're very effective at killing bacteria and viruses. Bacteria do not like, and neither do viruses, an alkaline environment. And baking soda creates an alkaline environment. And if on YouTube you were to type in gargling with baking soda, you're going to find that the people who do gargle with baking soda rarely ever get a cold or a flu or anything. And the COVID-19, apparently, I heard, it rests in your throat for as long as 4 days. It can be as long as 4 days before it finds its way down into your lungs. So gargling morning and night after you brush your teeth with some baking soda dissolved in water, just an ordinary cup of water with maybe, half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of baking soda, mix it in there, gargle, wish it out. And probably just leave it in there if you can without rinsing it all out of there, because the salt and the baking soda have an antiviral, antibacterial effect. Salt in particular is interesting because if you have a canker sore or you have any kind of abscess in your mouth around your teeth, salt all by itself in warm water, can sterilize and neutralize the bacteria around that abscess or that canker sore. I had a really bad canker sore at one time, and my boss at work said, "Why don't you try rinsing with salt?" And I thought, wow, that's right. That's what people did for years. And you know what? Everything else I tried didn't work, but the salt, it was like gone almost the next day. It's so good. So put baking soda and salt on your list. Number 6 is apple cider vinegar in water. If you put a couple tablespoons or even 1 tablespoon in a glass, 8-ounce glass of water, that is enough for an entire day. And you can just take like a sip of a third of it, maybe in the morning, another third in the afternoon, another third in the evening. And apparently it goes down and it will kill bacteria and viruses throughout your entire digestive tract. And also it will go, of course, in your throat and in your mouth. So that could be also sterilizing your mouth and your throat from the COVID-19. Number 7, self-isolation. It should actually be number 1, because if you self-isolate, you're not going to be hopefully in any way exposed to the COVID-19. However, you might be getting deliveries at the door. You might have other people in your family coming and going. It's very hard to self-isolate, but if you can, and everybody could stay indoors. In fact, I wish they'd put everybody indoors for about 2 months and then the disease would die. We could all come out after it was gone. But of course, this is never the way it seems to work. But it would be great if they could do that, if it were possible to do that. But self-isolation is a great way to prevent getting this disease. If someone comes to the door with a delivery, you can always tell them to sign by proxy for you. Maybe they could just put an X for your signature. Then you don't have to touch the pen and be exposed to all the people, all the houses this delivery guy was at before, or him, and whatever disease he might be harboring. And if he would sign by proxy and just drop the package on the doorstep, leave, and then after a period of time, you could just go out there and grab it, sterilize everything, sterilize your hands anyway, because the COVID-19 can survive on packages, but if you had a nice disinfecting handy wipe, you could just wipe the whole thing off. And even if you had to go out, you could, I don't know, hold your breath, sign quick, sterilize your hands, get back inside, sterilize the package. Anyway, you get the picture. Number 8, and of course these are in no particular order because all of these are important. Number 8 is boosting your immune system. Well, how do you do that? There's a lot of ways to do that. In particular, nutrition is what really boosts your immune system. There's a doctor called Dr. Joel Wallach, Joelwallach, Dr. Joel Wallach. He wrote a book called Dead Doctors Don't Lie, and he has other books out too. And the interesting thing about him is he is a medical doctor. He was a coroner and a veterinarian, and he's an expert in all these fields. He was paid the equivalent of what would cost $1 billion today to repeat the experiment, but he was in a case study, or he did a study of thousands of autopsies of humans and animals, and then just his years of studying diseases in people and animals. And the study that he did proved conclusively that all natural illnesses, not like if you got hit by a truck, that's not a natural illness, but a natural disease or a natural illness is caused by or aggravated by a nutritional deficiency. Nutritional deficiencies, even one nutritional deficiency of a single nutrient that you need, can cause 10 diseases and result in death. You run out of something, you can die. His study, which, like I said, would cost $1 billion to repeat today, is housed in the Smithsonian Institute, and there isn't a scientist anywhere who's worth his salt that would disagree with his findings that all natural illnesses and death are nutritionally related. So that tells you if you could get your body in peak efficiency as far as the nutritional elements in it, you would have a much easier time fighting off an invader like the COVID-19. So I'm going to recommend you get yourself, in fact, I'll even recommend his company, Dr. Joel Wallach. He has a company called Youngevity, like the word young, Young, and then Evity, Youngevity. And he has 90 essential nutrients in a pill form or in a drink form called Tangy Tangerine, or 90 for Life. And that has a basic amount of most of the minerals that you need that you can't get out of the soil anymore. I saw a chart, he even discussed a chart online about showing where all the different minerals were in the soil, and there wasn't one place that had all the minerals anymore. So you pretty much got to eat a wide variety of food and take supplements, because it's very, very hard at this point in time to get your minerals from your food. Maybe you can get your vitamins easier, but not your minerals. So I recommend you take a good supplement. Maybe Shaklee they have a good product too. That's a multivitamin mineral kind of all-purpose supplement, and I believe theirs is called Vitalizer. It's very good too. Vima, I believe, is the one that Dr. Oz uses, hope I'm remembering the name of it right. But the point is, just get a good one and really beef up your nutrition, because it's very hard to get what you need out of food. You can get very sick and die if you run out of even one thing. Okay, so I don't know what number we're at. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Vitamin C. Vitamin C is extremely important and extremely effective at fighting viral infections like the COVID-19. In fact, almost any illness that you could go into the hospital for, when they give them IV vitamin C, large doses, they improve. It's just simply an all-purpose great thing to have if you're sick. And fighting the COVID-19, which is a virus, you're going to need lots of vitamin C. And I'm going to recommend how you can actually prepare it. If you buy powdered ascorbic acid, which you can get at Bulk Barn in Canada, it's like $6 for a container. It's a good place to buy at Bulk Barn. And baking soda. And what you do is, why would you do this? Well, ordinary ascorbic acid, if you take enough of it, you get to a place where it's called bowel tolerance, and you'll actually get diarrhea if you consume a large amount of that. But you might need a large amount of it. You might need a lot more than possibly what your bowels are telling you. So this is a way you can have the vitamin C without the problem of diarrhea. Sorry if that's too graphic for some of you. Anyway, this is how you prepare it. You take a teaspoon of the ascorbic acid, the powdered ascorbic acid, and you put it in a glass of water that you've put about 2 inches of water in the bottom of the glass. Okay, and then you dump that in, the tablespoon of ascorbic acid, and then you take a half teaspoon of baking soda and you drop that in, and then you swirl it around or mix it with a spoon, and it will begin fizzling, because it's now going to fizzle into a new form. When you combine the baking soda with the ascorbic acid, I believe it becomes, I don't remember the name, it becomes a vitamin C that's highly absorbable and that doesn't give you diarrhea. And when you do this, every time you do this, you will get 4,000 milligrams or 4 grams of vitamin C. If you have COVID-19 and you're in the severe group, you're probably going to need 100,000 milligrams or 100 grams of vitamin C. And there's no danger in having too much vitamin C. You just pee it out if you don't need it. But if you're just wanting to prevent and wanting to keep your immune system up, it wouldn't hurt at all to have 10 grams a day. That's 10,000 milligrams. Now, the guy who got a Nobel Peace Prize for this, Linus Pauling, he was in his 90s running around like a young guy. He was driving up a mountain on a mountain bike and very healthy. And he was taking, I believe, 20,000 milligrams a day. If you've got cancer or something, you're going to want to take like 30,000 or 30 grams and up per day. But it does help in all conditions of ill health. It will definitely help you, not hurt you. I can't think of any case in which it would hurt you. It's going to help you in all cases, and particularly with a virus, because most things that might fight a bacterial infection are not going to be necessarily effective on a viral infection. So vitamin C is a really good thing to take a lot of if you want to prevent getting the COVID-19 or to recover from the COVID-19. I just had the thought that Buckley's cough syrup would have properties very similar to Vicks VapoRub. Of course, you're not going to put that in your nose, but it would be good for your throat. So just one more product that if you have, it might be good to have as far as killing germs and viruses in your throat and discouraging them from going down into your lungs. I should point out that if you get very sick and your lungs fill up with water, it's time to go to the hospital and get on a ventilator. These are just things you can do aside from if you happen to be one of the unfortunate people who become quite severely infected with the COVID-19. So those are some basic things you can do to prevent and help get better from the COVID-19. I hope you find this helpful, and I hope that you and your family stay safe. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.